You now have access to one of the world's best AI video models. There is huge news for 3D artists, and the CEO of Netflix has some bold predictions about the future of AI in Hollywood. This is your AI film news of the week. I want to let you know that you can stick around to the end of this video to get a bonus tip on how to win our game of the week. Now, let's get to the news. We're going to kick things off with some news from one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. And I am, of course, talking about the co-CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos. Ted was recently interviewed about his thoughts on the future of AI in Hollywood, and he has some interesting predictions. First, Ted said that AI isn't going to reduce costs, but really be helpful for improving the overall quality of the films that are created. So rather than trying to make a film for 50% less, he really feels like it's a better use of AI to try to make a film 10% better with more iterations coming from artificial intelligence. And this is a view we definitely share here at Curious Refuge. At the end of the interview, Ted says, AI is not going to take your job. The person who uses AI might well take your job. And that is a really important point. Artificial intelligence is not able to craft interesting stories by itself, but people who use artificial intelligence are able to create projects that are even better than if they wouldn't have used AI in the first place. So I highly recommend checking out AI tools that are available to you as a creative artist. There are a lot of AI tools out there that are helpful for filmmakers, but if you want, we actually put together a list of some of our favorite tools over on the Curious Refuge website. You'll find a link below this video. We also have some really exciting news. The team at Kling has released their video model publicly to the entire world. So this is great because previously you had to have a Chinese phone number in order to have access to Kling, and most people do not have a Chinese phone number. There have been some really awesome examples of Kling online. For example, we have this shot here of George Washington eating a cheeseburger, which is just majestic. We have the shot here of a Viking chief drinking from a cup. It looks pretty darn good. The people in the background look very realistic and the motion looks really good. We have this shot of this alien robot character that looks pretty darn great. The bokeh in the background and the parallax looks very realistic. And we have this shot of kind of this World War II scene. I think the airplane in the background is moving pretty slow, but other than that, it looks pretty good. You can see there's a lot of like particles in the background. It kind of look like paper leaflets. There's also kind of fire coming in front of that building there, and it looks pretty darn good. And lastly, we have the modern day version of Piano Cat wearing a fedora, which is just delightful. Now, you may be wondering how Kling compares to some of the other tools that are out there like Llama's Dream Machine, and we went ahead and did a quick comparison. So first, I want to show you a video that was created using the Llama. Okay, so you can see that the results from Llama are pretty good, but let's take a look at Kling. Okay, so as you can see, they're pretty comparable. I do think that there's one specific shot that I really liked from Kling, the shot where the woman is kind of looking off the camera and then she looks down and looks back up. There's a lot of dynamic movement in like the fur in the jacket that she's wearing. The background has some fire elements that are blinking in a very realistic way, with the bokeh being natural to what camera lens you would expect from that type of shot. And I just think it's a really, really dynamic and interesting shot. Now, is Kling perfect? No. I think when you look at a side-by-side comparison, the fidelity that you get from Kling is worse than the fidelity that you get from Llama Labs. But that's not to say that it isn't an amazing tool. I highly recommend checking it out. Let's take a look at how you can get signed up with the tool right away. It was a little confusing, but I'll show you each step of the way. First things first, go to the Kling AI website. That's klingai.com. For some reason, there are some websites that do not link to Kling AI that claim to be Kling's website, so it's a little strange. You'll find a direct link to this website below this video. And go ahead and click the Sign In for Free Credits button. And if you don't already have an account, which you probably do not, you can click the Sign Up for Free button, and basically it just takes an email address and you get to create a password. Once you're signed in, go ahead and go to the AI video section. And like always, we're going to use image to video, not text to video. Text to video is really only helpful for establishing shots and if you want to get likes on Twitter. But if you want to tell a compelling story, you really need image to video so you can have consistency in your creations. So we'll go to image to video, and now all you have to do is drag and drop an image. I have this image of a Viking woman here, and we'll just drag and drop it into Kling. Now, for your prompt, you can prompt whatever you want. It's best to be specific and talk about the camera movement that you want to see. So we'll say a Viking woman walks around her home handheld camera movement. Now, a lot of the features inside of Kling are not available to the public. For example, they have an add an in-frame button that is very similar to the in-frame feature inside of Llama Labs. That's not currently available. They also have something called a high quality setting that isn't available just yet either. And so once we get that high quality setting, it's going to be very helpful because right now the quality is not the best, but it does look pretty good. And you also have the ability to adjust the creativity or the relevance. So relevance will make the video more in line with the uploaded image. Creativity will just take it further and it can get more creative with the movements and just overall aspects of the frame that might change. Now, the default actually is pretty darn good. I find that the default is a little better than the default in some of the other AI video tools that are out there. So we'll keep it there, and we will keep it at 5 seconds. Now, you also have the ability to type in a negative prompt to say what you don't want to see in your scene, which can be helpful, but we are not going to select that now because I want to see what we get by default. So let's go ahead and click Generate. I should note that when you generate a video using Kling, it uses 10 credits, and they're giving everyone 66 daily credits to create your video. So basically you get 30 seconds of video for free every single day. I should also note that the videos you get from Kling are not HD quality. They're only 1344, and most critically for filmmakers, the frame rate is 30 frames per second, not 24 frames per second. So if you're working on a film project, that frame rate issue might be a serious issue that you need to work around. Kling does not have a paid version available to international customers, but luckily for us, Tim at Theoretically Media was able to get access to what the pricing looks like, at least in China right now, and we were curious about how that compares to other AI video tools that are out there. So right now on Kling's website, they're basically using a credit system that whenever you subscribe for a year, you basically get about 25 minutes of AI-generated footage for about $18 a month, which is pretty good, actually, because if you compare that to Llama Labs, for about $23.99 a month, you get 10 minutes of AI video, and on Runway, for $28 a month, you get 3 minutes and 45 seconds of video. So Kling is by far the most efficient AI video generator that is out there. However, I should note that at Curious Refuge, our favorite AI video subscription is the Runway Unlimited plan because it's literally unlimited. Okay, let's take a look at our result. So here's the clip from Kling. You can see we have our Viking woman and she's walking around and there's a weight in the steps. Her hair is blowing in the breeze. And you can see that the fur, like it's really interesting to see the fur lifting as if her shoulders are kind of rising and pushing up the costume that she's wearing. And even when we zoom in and analyze some of the deeper parts of this footage, like look at the background. You see the way that the mountain parallaxes with the cabin and her outfit, how they are all on different planes. That's a very advanced movement that artificial intelligence was able to recognize and create in just a matter of minutes. And that brings us to our game of the week. For this week's game, I'm going to show you 6 different video clips. I want you to tell me which one was created in Llama and which one was created in Kling. All right, let's get started. Here's clip number 1. Here's clip number 2. Loving the dynamic fire movement in the background there. Here's clip number 3. Okay, got some pretty good wave simulations there. This is clip number 4. Not loving the way the water is rising there. I don't think that looks super realistic. And here's clip number 5. You have this guy driving around, guessing like an English village. And clip number 6. All right, pretty good. I like the camera shake on that one. If you think you know which clip was created in which tool, let us know in the comments. We will randomly select one of the winners to receive a free AI filmmaking sweatshirt from Curious Refuge. I highly recommend checking out Kling, and of course, if you create something awesome with the tool, be sure to tag us online so that we can share it in our AI film gallery. The next news that's pretty cool is Suno has released the ability to create stems with their songs. So a stem basically allows you to isolate certain instruments or vocal layers in a music track. So with Suno right now, you can really just isolate the vocals and the music, but I imagine we will get more stems very soon. Let's take a look at how to use this feature. So go over to the Suno website and log in with your account and go to the Create button. Okay, so inside of Suno, go to the Create tab and make sure you're in version 3.5, which is the newest model. Now you can type in a prompt. We'll say a pop song about an AI film news show from Curious Refuge, and go ahead and click Create. Okay, let's listen to our song.
AI shows the latest scenes, movies like you've never seen. Every day there's something new. Curious Refuge, news for you.
Okay, that's a great song. So to create the stems, all you have to do is go to the 3 dots and ensure that you have the time code in the little thumbnail there. If you don't have the time code, that means that Suno has not created the entire song yet, so it can't pull the stems. So let's go ahead and click on the 3 dots and we will click Get Stems. So now Suno will go in and separate the vocal track and the audio track. Okay, in about 60 seconds, it created the stems. Let's listen to each one.
AI shows the latest scenes, movies like you've never seen.
Okay, that distorted AI voice is still there, which is really funny. And let's listen to the instrumental track. And you can see that it is an AI removal process, so clearly there still is some of the music in the vocals and some of the vocals in the music, but it is very helpful to have an automatic tool directly in Suno so you don't have to go to a different AI tool to separate the tracks. I'm also very excited to announce a new course at Curious Refuge. We've partnered up with Fred Grinstein to create the world's first AI documentary course. This course is specifically for anyone who wants to use AI to create compelling documentaries or unscripted content. Fred has worked on documentary and unscripted projects for incredible studios, including HBO, A&E, and Vice. Now, there are a lot of people that are already on the waitlist, but I should note that there is special beta pricing for the very first session of this course, which is awesome. It will go on sale on July 31st at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And speaking of July 31st at 11 a.m. Pacific, our other courses at Curious Refuge will also go on sale. This includes AI filmmaking and AI advertising. We've updated the course with the latest tools and techniques that you need to know. Be sure to check out our course pages over on Curious Refuge and join the waitlist to be the first to know when the courses drop. The team at Adobe also came out with some new features inside of Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. Let me show you how to use them. The first tool that we're going to check out is inside Adobe Photoshop. I should note that you need to update to the most recent version of Adobe Photoshop to use this tool. At the time of recording, that's Photoshop 25.11. So, in order to use this new tool called the Selection Brush tool, all you have to do is go to the little icon on the left. Usually by default, it's the lasso tool. So if you just hold down your mouse, you can skip over to the Selection Brush tool. Now, the thing that makes this tool unique is the fact that it's designed to select a subject but with varying levels of opacity. So usually when you select a subject, you're basically getting each and every pixel selected, and you can't select the amount of opacity in that selection. So this is really helpful, especially when you begin to pair it with generative fill, because you can bring in a certain number of pixels from the previous image into your selection. So it basically smooths out the edges. So in order to select your subject, all you have to do is go here and change the size of your brush. You can also change the hardness. My favorite way to do this is to hold down Control and Option on a Mac, and you can click to the right and left to drag for the size. So let's say we wanted to select this tree here. Basically, we can just drag and just kind of lightly select the frame, just like this. And we can now go to generative fill and type in whatever we want. So let's say we want just a completely different plant here. I'm going to say out of focus plant and go ahead and click generate. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. So the first one here, we have this generation. I don't like what it's doing to our leg down here, and I don't know why it put a gigantic acorn back there. So that's not great. We have this second generation, which I like. I like the plants. Don't love the wrinkles in the leg, but it's not bad. And the last one here, we have her standing here with these very basic pots. I think that one looks pretty good. There's also a new feature inside Adobe Illustrator that allows you to generate vectors inside of shapes. So this is really helpful for creating patterns and branding. Again, you need to have the most up-to-date version of Illustrator to get access to this tool. So we have this shape selected here, and we can click the Generate Shape Fill button here. And we can type in whatever we want. For our prompt, we'll say flowers and ice cream and go ahead and click generate. Okay, let's take a look at our results here. So we have number 1, number 2, and number 3. So I think this one did pretty good. I like number 3 a lot because look here, it created an orange slice for the wing, which is pretty hilarious. Now the cool thing is, because we're in Adobe Illustrator, all of these objects are shape layers and they can be infinitely scaled and manipulated, which makes them different from using tools like Adobe Firefly inside of Photoshop. In event news, we'd like to extend a huge congratulations to the team at the Bifan International Film Festival. They were kind enough to invite Dave Clark on behalf of Curious Refuge to share his thoughts and insights on the future of artificial intelligence in filmmaking and in advertising. The event was the most popular version of the Bifan International Film Festival in history, and it featured everything from AI competitions to AI workshops. We hope everyone who was able to attend had an amazing time. We would love to be there next year. Now, on the other side of the world, we'd like to give you a quick update on the Reply AI Film Festival that's happening at the same time as the Venice International Film Festival in early September. So as you know, we partnered up to get the word out that the top 10 finalists will be flown to Venice to premiere their film. Well, we just heard that actually they extended it to the top 12 finalists. So 12 people will be notified and flown out to that event. We'll let you know more about the finalists and the projects that made it into that competition in the coming weeks. In other AI news, the team at Haiper came out with the ability to create 8-second long videos, which is an added improvement. They also allow you to extend videos now, and you can upscale videos directly in their platform. Haiper is a really interesting tool, so if you haven't had a chance to check it out, be sure to click the link below this video. You probably couldn't get away from the big announcement from Meta. They released their brand new Llama 3.1 model, and it's completely open source and available to everyone to use. Now, the thing that makes this model really unique is the fact that it has a context window of 128,000 tokens. You can basically upload any sized script you want to Llama and be able to ask it questions about the document, which is really interesting. Inside their terms of service, basically you can do anything you want with the model, but you must attribute Llama and include the words built with Llama inside any project that utilizes the tool. I thought that was really funny, just the idea of like watching a film and it saying built with Llama at the end. And so I created this icon using Midjourney, that is our built with Llama icon, and then I animated it inside of Luma. And so we have this looping AI video of this llama just kind of head bobbing here. And I think this is just delightful. If you use Llama on a film project, you are free to use this clip. I'll include a link in the description of this video. There are also a lot of really cool research papers that dropped this week. Let's take a look at some futuristic film tech. The first research paper comes from the team at Stability AI. They released a paper on stable video 4D. Basically, you have the ability to upload a video and it will generate 8 different angles of that footage. So it creates a 3D model representation of the video, and it basically allows you to change the camera movement. Now, it is very specific. It's only for basically 3D model videos at this point, but it's very easy to see that in the near future, you might have the ability to literally change the framing of your video using a technology like Stable Video 4D. Not to be outdone, a team from China also released code for a very similar feature that's available to you right away. Basically, you can upload a 3D object and this tool will automatically animate that object and give you multiple camera angles. So it takes it even one step further. They have some pretty cool examples over on their website. For example, we have this robot arm kind of like animates down, which is pretty cool. We have this shot of this bald eagle flying. Now the animation is not perfect, but it's a start. It also can take scans from the real world and animate them. So for example, we have this shot of this hand here, and I'm not entirely sure if fingers are designed to go back that far. I think there might be some hyperextension happening here. We also have this shot of this dog like backing up. I don't know if he's like scared of something. And we have the shot of this swan here and he's like moonwalking backwards. And this tool is also able to automatically animate 3D assets that were generated using AI. So for example, we have this 3D iguana here and he's kind of walking around, which is cool. We also have this shot of this dog, which is pretty interesting. You can see the dog is kind of like looking up at its owner and kind of getting ready to sit down. And we have this shot of this kind of 3D animated rabbit. A research team from Prague and Zurich came out with a white paper called Wild Gaussians. Basically, this tool can take a ton of different images and separate them based on the time of day that they were shot. Then it takes the images and creates a Gaussian splat of the scene. This allows you to change the time of day as you move around in 3D space. It's pretty cool. And you can really imagine how this type of technology will be integrated in tools like Google Maps in the future. Basically, any photo that's been uploaded to the internet and ingested by Google could hypothetically be stitched together to where you could explore the world and change the time of day, and you would have a pretty good 3D representation of what the world looks like. There's also some pretty interesting news for VFX artists and 3D artists. Basically, when you have a 3D asset that you're trying to composite into a real-life film scene, you need to go in and basically shoot a 360-degree image or video of the scene so that you can have proper reflections. Well, that has now changed with a brand new tool. It's called 3D Gaussian Ray Tracing, and basically it introduces ray tracing into Gaussian splats to where you can take a 3D scan of a film set or an environment and you'll be able to create accurate 3D representations of what the scene looks like. So there's some pretty interesting examples over on the website. For example, we have the shot here of a chrome car and you can see the reflections look realistic. Like it looks like that chrome car is inside of this scene. It also has the ability to clean up artifacts that are inside of your scene and you can control the depth of field, which is really cool. In crowd generation news, there was a new white paper called CrowdMogen that basically is an AI tool that intelligently understands crowds. This tool is specifically designed for the entertainment industry and it intelligently understands crowd dynamics. So for example, right now, if you want to create a crowd simulation scene for a film, you have a few different options. The first is you can shoot a video plate of a few different people and basically copy and paste them to fill the stands of, let's say it's a sports arena. You also have the ability to use motion capture or 3D scanning to basically get a 3D model, and you can duplicate that model and create a crowd that way. And there are also procedural options using tools like Houdini that allow you to do slight variations to create different crowd dynamics. This tool is more interesting because it intelligently understands how the crowd should behave. Let me show you what I mean. For example, the artist prompted a person falls down, and clearly there's a person that fell down and someone's helping them up. But it also understands that when someone falls down in a public space, usually other people run to help the person. And so it actually generated the movements of other people going to help this person out. We also have a prompt here of people running to avoid a car, and you can see that as the car approaches, they all kind of go their separate ways. Now, is this tool ready for prime time? I don't think so. But it is interesting that there are notable enhancements in crowd dynamics and simulations. Crowds are notoriously one of the more challenging things to render because there's just so many different dynamics and physical considerations that go into creating a realistic crowd scene. Our final white paper this week comes from Korea, where a team put together a project called Kling Gaussian. Long story short, this tool allows you to select objects from a Gaussian splat and scale them up and move them around your scene. Having the ability to change an environment that you scanned gives you greater creative control whenever you hop into a 3D application. And that brings us to our AI films of the week. The first film that I want to highlight is a film concept by Kevin the Kid. This project is called Untold, and it's one of the best visual AI projects that I've seen to date. Kevin is very skilled at curating and selecting shots, and that's why he's one of the best AI filmmakers out there. The next project that I want to highlight is called A Paris by Julie Wieland. Julie is a fantastic AI artist, and she explored this beautiful vintage aesthetic that takes place in Paris in what I'm guessing is like the 60s. It's clearly using Llama or some sort of AI video tool that is more advanced. And I just love how the entire project seems like it's a vintage travel film. So fantastic work, Julie. And actually, we interviewed Julie on our podcast a few months ago. If you want to learn more from Julie and hear how she gets consistency in her shots, you can check out that episode. And our final project of the week comes from our friend Tim at Theoretically Media. He put together a project called Dead Sea, and it really is one of the better AI films that we've seen up to this point. He really cleverly used a flashback to tell a story, and I think that's a great way to get around some of the limitations with lip sync inside of AI video. It has fantastic visuals, there's good consistency, and on a really exciting note, I want to celebrate that Tim hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations, Tim. You are one of the best resources for AI video creators out there, and we wish you the best of luck with your channel. And if you've watched the video up to this point, then you've earned some secret insights into how to win the game of the week this week. My tip to you is that Kling likes to create slow motion video in most of the generations. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of AI Film News. Of course, you can get AI film news sent directly to your email inbox by subscribing over at Curious Refuge. We also have a free AI filmmaking course that you can get completely for free. And of course, you can join our Discord channel where we share the latest AI news, updates, and meetups from around the world. And like always, you can like and subscribe here on YouTube to get the latest tutorials and news directly here on the platform. Thank you so much for being an awesome member of the community. Remember, we have enrollment for our August session opening up on July 31st at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We would love to see you inside of the courses. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.